rage. But you guys remember piss pouring the rain, right? And before we look at team statistics here, the thing that I remember the most was it felt like Detroit was just playing not to lose, and Green Bay was way too aggressive. And that I remember the pick six, right? Was it Kirby Joseph, I believe, that had the pick six? I think it was, where Love just scrambled out the ball. It was like Josh Jacobs wasn't even supposed to be in that spot on the route anyway, and he just kind of sees him, panics, throws it, and again, pick six. That's gonna, that's a 6-point swing. Obviously, some would say a 12-point swing. But when you look at the turnovers, once again, Green Bay had one turnover, and it was an interception thrown. And if I remember correctly, there it is, the defensive touchdown. That was the pick six. So when you look at this, you end up losing by 10 points here against Detroit in the rain. However, that pick six changed the whole momentum. If I remember correctly, I should probably shouldn't do this, but let's see if we can do it. Let's go to the interception thrown. Yeah, so that's what made it 17-3. And if I remember correctly, it was right before halftime. Yeah, middle eight.
Right. That's right. Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yep.
You lose on one play, you lose the middle eight and the turnover differential. The two of the most important aspects to win a ball game, right? And again, it wasn't like you got blew out, You ended up losing by 10 points. That's pretty wild to think about. And kudos to the defense, because if you take that pick six away, they held that one of the best offenses in the league in Detroit to what would that have come out to there, boys? How many points? -7 there.
14, 17.
17 points.
Can you scroll up real quick, Click? Because to that point, as I'm looking at this box score, it's like the Packers on paper should have won this game. Can you go back to the box score?
Team stats? Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, passing first downs, Green Bay advantage. Rushing first downs, just pretty much even. First downs from penalties, Packers have 3 to their 1. Third down efficiency, we're better technically than they are. Fourth down efficiency, they pretty much similar. Total plays, almost similar. Total yards, we had 411 to their 261.
Right.
We had 9 total drives to their 8. We had 6.6 yards per play to their 4.7. It literally came down to almost one play, one boneheaded play that completely shifted the whole situation there, and a slow start for sure.
Yeah, changes everything, Emilio. When you lose the middle eight and a turnover differential, now you didn't know you were going to lose the turnover differential at that point, but that's why I felt like Detroit was just like, you know what? Let's just let them give us this game here. Mm-hmm. Let's just kind of, you know what I mean? I remember feeling like that.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're just hitting the middle button and you're going home on college football. If you throw a pick, right before halftime, you're trying to get back in it. Yeah, I'm quitting out of that game. I'll just start a new one. There's no point in continuing. And that's kind of how you feel sometimes when that kind of just gut punch hits you like that. You really need to, I think it's going to help. You got dragged through some of these were rough losses. You're going to dwell on that. He's going to remember it. And I think that obviously we don't want that to happen moving forward, but you saw their third downs. We kind of struggled. We did all right on fourth down, but third downs, we got to get ourselves out of that. We got to be, we got to continue the drives. We can't keep getting hung up. And again, now we're done. Now we've gone up in penalties. We've hit double digits now. We're at 10 of them for 67 yards, drive killers, progress stoppers, all those things. And, most of those are mental mistakes that you should be getting past at this point.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move along to the next game, the next loss, I should say. And let's see if we can dissect what happened there. This will be week 14 at Detroit. All right. You lose 34-31. So obviously one of the better teams in the league. I think they did make it to the NFC Championship, if I remember correctly, right? Detroit.
Who?
So you lose 34-31. On the surface, you go, dang, boy, this defense gave up 34 points. You ain't going to win many games like that. And on the surface, you would think the offense did their job, right? Let's take a look and see if anything else. Matt does not look happy there. That's tough work there. Let's go to the team statistics here. Passing first downs, they got 10 more passing first downs than us. Rushing first downs were even at 7, right? First down from penalties, the Packers got 3 first downs, and the Lions only had 2. Now let's go to the important statistics here. Turnover differential was 1-1, right? They lost a fumble, but once again, we threw an interception. like to see where that interception was real quick, and we'll come back to this screen in just a second. Let's see if we can find that interception. Of course, we picked them, or did they threw the interceptions? What it was, right? Or was it? Let's see here. Yeah, they threw the interception, so we had a fumble then. Green Bay's fumble was Josh Jacobs' right tackle, and
right, yeah, he got punched out, and when he was kind of like diving forward, I think.
No, here it is, right here. I believe Emilio. 2nd and 3. Is that right? Yeah, second and 3. It says Jordan Love's short right to Christian Watson to Green Bay's 44 for 20 yards. Fumbles recovered by Detroit. D Long at Detroit's 46. So
that's when he was running up the sideline, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
and he jumped in the air. Just one of those. Somehow the ball stays inbounds.
Yeah, that's right.
I do not understand how that happened. So that was one of those on an explosive play, which should triple your chances of scoring on that drive, right? You turn the ball over. So here we are again. We're seeing turnovers, is the big problem. It is. And the Packers would not have won near as many games last year if it hadn't been for our defense forcing turnovers and kind of evening that turnover differential out. But that's really, really interesting because you forget about this stuff, right?
Yep.
And if you're going back and looking at it, it's
important.
important.
I remember that play. Now the thing is, and Tucker was sitting there looking at the ball, and then we were all mad at Tucker that he didn't dive on it, but he didn't expect the ball to come flying out of Christian's hand like that. And
you know what? This game brought.
Don't you say it, Jacob? I can hear it in your voice. Don't you say it?
What? I'm not gonna. Well, when I look at what really killed us, I remember watching this game and just thinking we cannot stop them on any third down, any fourth down.
Right. And
the third down efficiency, I remember this just, we were 1 of 5 to their 7 of 15. And here's the absolute kicker. We were 0 for 0 on fourth down. They were 4 for 5. They went for it 5 times on fourth down and got 80% of them. And we didn't even try it. That to me I don't think I've ever been more disappointed or angry with Matt LaFleur's lack of all gas. Just give me something, dude. Light a fire under these guys. You're not even going to try it. You're not even going to try a fourth down where they're just like basically saying it's an easy collect $200. You know what I mean? Pass go to give me the money. We're not even going to try it on them.
18 passing first downs. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? And I look at it a little different, Jacob. Not to say I'm right and you're wrong. Like when I look at the fourth down efficiency, I go, okay, there's no reason to be aggressive. You're 3 points from winning the ball game. You know what I mean? Like you still finished 3 points away. And here's the thing, Ryan talked about this on his podcast a little while back as well. He's like, they talked about Ben Johnson going for it on fourth down. It was gonna screw him up in the end. It was gonna catch up to him. And I think it did there toward the end of the year, if I remember correctly. There was 1 or 2 games where they were like, man, he's just being careless calling these fourth down. So if you get them, it's great, right? If you don't get them, sometimes it costs you the game. I'm very anti go for it on fourth down, but I probably should be leaning toward the way Jacob feels, because when other teams do it, I'm like, it makes you feel like you're helpless when they go for it. It's like, we did our job, we got to stop, and they come out and go for it on fourth down and move the chains. That's so frustrating. So you're probably onto something there, Jacob. Me being the boring fan I am, that's the way I look at it and go, I don't know, man, we're just 3 points away, But
right. I look at it as more of just a coach saying to their team, hey, I believe in you guys. Let's go get it. I'm going to give you one more down. I mean, they're a combined 11 of 20 on third and fourth down to our 1 of 5. You know what I mean? That's just, to me, drastic. If they're going to start doing it, we've got to at least match that intensity is what I would argue, but I understand.
Yeah, and the other thing too, the other aspect of that is there are now, not that coaches care about what we say or what the pundits say, right? Any other media members, but the other side of that is if an offense goes for it, it also says I don't trust my defense, right? That's another way that people look at it. So I honestly don't think players look at it that way. I think it's more about people like us blowing out of proportion and the media, obviously. But yeah. You got anything else you want to add to this game here, Emilio? It's that's a heartbreaker there because, again, like Jacob said, they went 4 for 5 on fourth down efficiency, and you only lose by 3 points. I mean, I'd like to see. Let me do this real quick as you're gathering your thoughts there, or as you talk here. Yeah, Jordan Love finished with 206, 1 touchdown. Josh Jacobs, 18 carries for 66 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jordan Love did scramble 4 times for 23 yards. That's kind of a surprise. Christian Watson had a hell of a game. It's just that fumble, man. One play. One play, right?
One play.
Yeah. And I mean, that brings back all the memories, that one play. That's what it does. Clay, can you go back to the stats again, the team stats?
Yeah, man.
So I was just looking. So we gave him 2 first downs on penalties, which isn't, I mean, one less than theirs, but it should be 0. Scroll down for me. Where were we on our penalties on this one here? Penalties, 7 for 59. It's tied with the amount still leading in the yardage, though. And again, we can't just be shooting ourselves in the foot like that. That's something that is just drilled in OTAs now. Matt's like, all right, we had a problem with penalties this past year. We need to get that taken care of. We can keep that 5 and under each game. I'm happy, right? But we started off the year 12, 13. We went down to 11, 10, 8, went back up. So we just kind of need to narrow that in, unless you're taking off somebody's head because they deserve it, right? And it's a reactionary penalty, okay, but all those pre-snaps are just, that's got to go.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And again, the
time of possession too.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Somebody said it earlier in the chat. There, you're talking about 13. Was it 13 minutes? Well, let's call it 12 minutes just to undershoot. I mean, that's darn near a whole quarter, Jacob. That's all. I mean, you're talking about 12 minutes of the game. They had the ball longer than us. That's good stuff.
What's crazy though is
statistic that if you just split that and they had the ball 6 minutes longer than you did, you probably at least tie or win the game, right?
Yeah, that's what's crazy is this is a fun exercise. I should say fun, but it's an interesting exercise to look back because given all of the BS and the sloppiness and the bad plays, whatever you want to say, arguably, you could say that the Packers lost both of these games by 1 play in each game. The interception, pick 6 in the one, and then what did we just talk about in the other one?
Time of possession.
Time of possession, and then also a stupid boneheaded, fumble and all that kind of. It's weird how you look back and it's so easy to see like, oh, that's where the game turned. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. All right. Moving along, the next game. So again, for me, I think the key thing that went wrong in that game at Detroit will be the Christian Watson fumble. Is there anything else you guys feel like was equally or more important in terms of the outcome? Because it does kind of feel like that's the one thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah, I think so.
No, that and a slow start. No points in the first quarter. That hurts.
Yeah. All right. So far we're 3 games into these 5 losses, and it's literally interception, pick 6, Watson fumble. It's all about turnover so far. So time of possession, of course, that's kind of comes into focus there as well with the turnover. So let's move along now to Week 17 at Minnesota. You lose that game 27-25. All right, on the road in Minnesota. That was Week 17, December 29th. Jordan Love only 185 yards passing. Josh Jacobs 69 yards rushing. So it sounds like your offense really struggled here. I'm trying to figure out how we scored 25 points with those kind of numbers, but let's dive into it and see. Let's start with let's go to the box score